What's up, FlowChat Connector? Sean back at you here. Today, we're going to talk about 7 tips to having power sales conversations. Very, very powerful topic. If you like to talk to people, let's go. What's happening, FlowChat Connector? Back at you with another high-ticket tune-up. Make sure and smash that like button. Share this out to those people that want to get better at sales or that you think they need to get better at sales. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Today, we're going to dive into a great question that came from Tom. Tom asked this. He said, Sean, I need to develop charisma. Oh, okay. Any secrets? Yes. Well, there are some secrets to developing charisma. I studied this pretty thoroughly when I was selling roofing material. It was a period of my life, about 3 years, and I met some sales people. I was on a team of over 350 sales professionals, and I got a chance to see just a broad range of levels of charisma with different salespeople. Those who I thought would always have success, and then those who never did, and then those people who I felt like were the worst communicators on the planet, yet they were able to somehow grow their businesses and make a lot of sales. And so in this video, I'm going to give you 7 tips that I've kind of observed through watching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of sales calls at this stage, either live or recorded, or people that I've coached. I've coached over 10,000 different people in the sales aspect. So this just comes from true and tried knowledge of what I see. So I'm going to dive right into it. Let's get into the game plan here. So here's 7 tips to having power sales conversations. If you need to get better at talking with people, whether it's just communicating internally with your team, if you're looking to get other people over the line in terms of, getting them to buy something from you, if you're trying to team sell, if you're leading a team, if you're coaching other people, if you have a group of sales pros or other leaders that you're trying to manage and lead, this is going to be valuable for you. So let's do it. First and foremost, what is the first tip? Well, number 1 is this: clean up your talk. What do I mean by clean up your talk? Well, I'm not saying stop swearing. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to be using 10th or 11th or 12th or college level grade comprehension levels in words that people don't even know. What I'm saying here is that we want to cut out all of the fluff. We want to cut out things like and those types of words are never good. The other thing that I see all the time is there's several words that it's weird that most entrepreneurs that I come across, they get caught in these traps of saying the same word over and over and over. And one of the words I hear all the time is the word literally or literally or literally or however you say it, right? If you say a word like that, if you listen to a lot of entrepreneurs today in the online space, you're going to hear them say that word over and over and over and over and over in conversation. I see trends, I see fads, I see patterns. That is one of the words right now that everybody says all the time. So that's something that we could take out of our language, cleaning up our talk. We don't want to use the same word over and over. Maybe if you use the word one time in a conversation, that's okay. But you can start to hear these trends and these patterns of people saying these types of words. So cleaning up your talk just simply means taking out the dead space in your conversational flow, eliminating the stutters, the uhs, the ams, those types of things. And then also taking out words that you say repetitively that you don't know you say. The only way to discover that is to listen to your conversations and really be critical on what you're saying. Now, when I always talk about reviewing your own sales calls, now I listen to my sales calls all the time, and so I always catch what are the things that I'm saying, and I'm pretty critical on this part of it, but just for this, cleaning it up. I don't get really critical on conceptual or I missed a point or something like that. It's rather just take out the fluffy stuff that doesn't need to be in the conversation. Be right to the point, because then the prospect or the person that you're speaking with is going to understand that you're very clear with your communication and your language. There's no stuttering, because when people hear and those things all the time, what they think is the person I'm listening to might be unsure or doesn't know how to word it. And then that will show, or that the perceived thing that provides is a lack of confidence. That's what comes out. So cleaning up your talk proves that you have more of this inner confidence. You can speak with what I call calm confidence. We'll get down to that manufactured enthusiasm here in a second. Secondly is being a dummy on purpose. This is another humongous. If you're trying to develop charisma in any conversation that you have, this one will probably be the number 1 on the list. I say it as number 2 here because I feel like a lot of people can very quickly boost charisma levels just by cleaning up all of the words that don't need to be in the conversation. But when you're a dummy on purpose, what does this mean? This means that you are starting to speak with somebody and you pretend not to understand them and ask them to re-explain concepts or points or valuable things more than once or twice to you, so that they say, oh man, well, you're not getting it yet. Let me re-explain it. And what happens when you do that is the prospect or the person that's talking to you starts to re-explain it to you, and then they get really feeling good inside about the fact that they're explaining things to you that they're helping you, right? So that's really the move here. They say, well, hold on, could you just be more specific? I don't really quite understand that, right? And it's okay in your cleaning up your talk. We talked about that in number 1 here, but you can stutter, you can mumble, you can get stuck on something that they said and be like, wait, that doesn't make any sense to me. Can you like explain it from a different direction? And when you just do that, and just with 1 or 2 points in a conversation, you'll see the whole dynamic shift, and you'll see all the charisma that people are like looking at you thinking like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. It's weird, I know, it's counterintuitive, I know, but do it and watch what happens, right? So just when somebody makes a point, act like a dummy on purpose and ask them to re-explain it to you in a nice way, of course. And what you're going to find is that person then, their primal brain says, oh, I need to help this person. And people love to help other people. This is how you're going to develop more charisma. Next one, match professionalism. If you get into a Zoom call, or you get into a face-to-face meeting, or you get into a boardroom, or you get into some place that all these people are very, very like snuff with suits and they have ties and everything else, and you're wearing a t-shirt, that could be a little bit of a challenge, right? So what we want to do is we always want to dress one step below or one step above where our prospects are. Typically, I like to dress either at the same level or one step above. That's the range of how we dress, right? So if somebody comes in with a suit and a tie, what is the okay apparel to wear? Well, we could have just a sports coat with a nice shirt underneath, like a white shirt. That's fine. Or we could go to the nines and get the pinstripe suit with the bow tie. We could do those 2 things. Again, this is going to depend on the person that you sell to most of the time. People only buy from people who are like them. So what they look like, you want to look similar to how they look, but then more so when they're speaking with you, they're going to have a certain way that they speak. They're going to speak very eloquently, no mistakes, very professional. Well, then you need to raise your game and get almost onto that same level. This is where it starts to get to like mirroring and matching. You want to match their professionalism level, unless they're like 3 or 4 steps below you. Then hold your own and be very skeptical on this person being a good fit or not, right? Now that'll play into some personality types and some other things, but just matching professionalism from a top level is going to be something very valuable. Next, we need to do this thing called manufactured enthusiasm. Look, if you're a sales professional and you're banging sales calls left and right, day in, day out, look, there was a time where I was taking 13 to 17 sales calls every single day, and I did it consistently, that many calls, that many times every day for over 6 months. And one of the things that became very difficult during all of those sales conversations was this idea that I had to consistently bring a higher level of energy. When I was listening to Russell Brunson once told me, he said, Sean, when you're speaking on Zoom specifically, because a lot of people sell virtually these days, a lot of people listening to me sell virtually these days, what he said was, when you speak on Zoom, your energy level may be here, right? And this may be like all you have to give. When it comes through the screen, there's like a 30 to 50% drop in energy transformation through the electronic medium of Zoom or, video, whatever messaging that you're having. And so he said, in order to combat this, we need to raise our level 30 to 50% of energy. Yes, it's exhausting to even hear me say that, but it's a true statement. You need to come with this higher level of energy to the call, because you lose energy in translation across the electronic medium of like a Zoom call. And then secondly, manufactured enthusiasm doesn't mean you're just like this hype guy or girl. What it means is that you're genuinely interested in what your prospect has to say. So this is where we're using 2 ears and 1 mouth in proportion. That's why when we were born, that's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, because we need to use those in proportion, and most people forget to do that. So listening twice as much and then being excited about what they just shared with you. Oh, that's an awesome goal. Like, tell me why you decided to even start down that path. Like, that's how you start to manufacture enthusiasm in a sales conversation. And you can do this sparingly at the beginning of the call, middle of the call, or when they say something that and just randomly throw in a little little bit of extra energy, what you'll find is as your charisma level will go up. Like, this person loves me. They're listening to what I'm saying. They're asking questions. They're excited about my thing. That's what the person is thinking when you're speaking with them. Next one, hinting at your interest, right? It's a two-way street. Connection is a two-way street. Most people, when they get into a conversation, traditional salespeople, what they'll start doing is saying all of their stuff. They'll start talking about how good they are. They'll start talking about how good their company is. They'll start talking about how much they love their wife, their family, their kids, their animals, whatever it is. And they'll just go blah, 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 verbally diarrhea and throw up all over you as a prospect. And then you're sitting there saying, like, I didn't need to know all that stuff. I don't even care about that stuff. See, people don't even care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? You've probably heard that before, but it's a true statement. And so in a sales conversation, specifically sales conversations, what you want to do is keep everything like a poker player would have their cards, keep it close to your chest and hint at your interest every now and again, right? So say, for example, someone says something about golf. Like for me, I played a very high level of golf. And so I said, oh yeah, well, actually I was on ESPN for doing this one thing in golf. And people are like, whoa. And I just hint that, I drop it, and they're like, yeah, I'll tell you about it later. And what has that done now? It's dropped this intriguing factor. And now you'll have those intriguing factors in your career. I promise you have them. You may not have got on ESPN or anything like that, but there are definitely things about you. You have a story to tell. You need to tell it because other people want to hear it. But we want to do it sparingly in a sales conversation, and you just want to hint at something, right? That's going to be a very, very big factor in developing more charisma and then having power sales conversations. Next one is using humor. This one's humongous, right? People don't like to think about going into a very morbid thought here would be a funeral. And the people get up on stage and they start speaking and then they just go, blah, 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 same tone. And while there's a lot of emotions in a funeral, some of those speeches get really long and get really boring. Now, obviously, we have to pay respect and be supportive. But at the same time, if it's a monotone sort of a thing, everyone's going to get bored. Sales conversations, same thing here, right? We don't want to just have a monotone. We want to change the inflection, the pitch, the tonality, the way we're talking, the speed that we talk at, and then dropping in humor from time to time, right? Whether it's don't always be the goof guy, but if something is an easy home run or somebody just lobs you one over the plate, like take the joke and drop the joke, because when people crack that ice and you can actually have humor in a conversation, it changes the dynamic of that whole entire conversation. And what you're going to find is that that person will say, oh, I enjoy speaking with this person. It's light, it's humorous, it's airy, it's fun. And that is how you're going to have that massive amount of charisma and power sales conversations. And the last one, probably the most important of all of this stuff. Now I've just given you 6 superpower tips. The last one I'm going to share with you is this one, repetition, right? Tom Hopkins, one of my very, very first sales mentors, bought one of his books. That was the first thing I ever did when I first started sales years and years ago. He said this, he said, repetition is the mother of all learning. That's it, right? When I heard that, I thought to myself, okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. So all I need to do is repeat, right? And so with all of this said, these should be some power things you can use today in your sales conversations in order to not only develop way more charisma with the people that you're speaking with, but also to have power sales conversations. With that said, I hope this one helped you. I know it did. And we got a couple of comments. Literally, lol, right. Don't use that word. If you're out there like hearing that word, try to get it out of your speech patterns and see if you get caught on saying one single word over and over. Try to take that out of your speech patterns. And must record sales calls and rewatch. Yes, absolutely. It will help you grow tremendously. And the word right is another one. Right's interesting because if you're getting agreement, then right can be a good word to use, or switch it up. Say, that makes sense, right? Or does that lay well with you, or does that sit well with you? It's the same kind of thing. And it's just getting affirmation and confirmation and getting yes momentum where that person starts to say, yes, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, right. Yes. Okay. So I like the word right. There is a caveat with that one, but with that said, look, you just been tuned up. I hope this one was valuable for you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Go fight, win, go FlowChat. Don't forget Thursday's the best day statistically to prospect and to sell. And with that said, I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye for now.